Well, hello.
Well, hello.
I thought you weren't going to say anything.
What if I just sat in silence? You're like, we're trying to record a podcast.
I thought you looked up and looked down. You were like, eh. And I was like, yeah.
Ignored. I did sign on, but I am only here to ignore you, actually.
I was like, honestly, it fits the vibes.
Does it? What? I don't think that's my vibe.
Not your vibe, just the vibe of my week.
Oh. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
that's fair. I guess. I don't know anything about your week, so I assume you're not lying.
I'm a lying liar who lies. No, I got my COVID booster on Monday, and then I thought it was fine, and then I died a little bit yesterday.
Oh.
So that wasn't fun. And then today is just a Wednesday. I mean, it wasn't like bad.
Today's just a Wednesday.
But I mean, it could have been Friday, and it wasn't. So like,
that's so true. Could have
been. It's really Wednesday's fault.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Woulda, coulda, coulda, woulda. Woulda comes first. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, you got it.
I got it. I got there eventually. It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. It is.
My brain has just actually ceased. I was messaging somebody at work, and I made a joke about like the words that I intended to message were like call a press conference, jokingly, but the words that I typed were call a press meeting, and then I sent it, and then I sat there and I stared at that message for like minutes because I was like, something about this isn't right. And so, like, several minutes later, I followed that up and was like, conference. Press conference. I need coffee so badly. Like, it was bad. It's fine. I know words sometimes.
I didn't have coffee today either, so, like, that's also part of the vibe.
That's never part of my vibe if I can possibly avoid it.
I know. It's unfortunate for me.
It is.
Well, I don't have much.
I know. I have no banter.
On.
Well, we just spoke so recently about Halloween.
Yeah, it was very recent.
And we bantered ourselves out.
We're all bantered out, guys. Call a press meeting.
Call a press meeting. We're all bantered out. We have no updates except I assume our next episode will be 1989 pairings.
Yes. Yeah, that's the 10th.
I haven't started on, but you know what? It'll happen.
It's going. I like had some already and I've been like trying to work at it, but it's just so many second chance romances, but like not all of them fit. It's very hard. This is I think the hardest it's been. We've only had 2, but
well, I mean, I've done more like album pairings, but those aren't song pairings are harder to me than just like the vibes of an album or the general themes. Cuz like 1989 I wouldn't like I think Red is more second chance to me than 1989 is, but there are so many songs, especially now with the vault tracks, that you have to use a second chance for cuz they're like breakup songs.
Yeah, see, like I just know cuz basically like the whole album was like Harry Styles, and I know that they like got back together like a few times, and so like that's what I like because I was like deeply into that lore. Like I spent hours researching it when I was younger, when I was a wee lad, and so yeah, and it's not like particularly my favorite trope. So I'm like having to comb through all the ones I've read and liked, but then it's like those ones don't quite fit the vibe. And then I'm like, what do I do? Then there are some where I'm like, that's perfect, but that doesn't happen a lot. So it'll happen. We'll have to do it. So
it has to, says us. We decided.
Yep.
We're like, wow, I can't believe that nebulous they are forcing us.
It's the
to
man
take on this task. It's the man. It is every time. Speaking of the man, that's how we're bantering our way into this. We're talking about Moonstruck Madness by Laurie McBain.
Yes.
Welcome to Romance Your TBR.
Welcome.
We are silly gooses who
Quack, quack.
know very little but have a lot of opinions. And
that's so true. Yeah, I stand by that.
That's it. That's all. End of episode. That's all I've got.
What was your segue? What was your banter into it?
The man.
The man? Just
because
this man?
If not for that man, this would have been a fantastic book.
Oh, yeah, no, the man
for
sucked.
me.
Yeah, I hated him.
I was so frustrated because the plot was so fun.
The plot was fun. Yeah, I agree.
The romance gave me nothing. And I was like,
no.
But if
not even crumbs.
We could have had it all. It started so strong. I was even down with him being unlikable at the beginning.
I was too.
He was kind of a dick at the beginning, but I was like, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't fine. I was like having a time, I guess. Like it wasn't like the best thing I'd ever read, but I wasn't hating it. And then I got to 50%, and I think I like made an update in Goodreads. I was like, I mean, it's fine. It is what it is, but it's just not my cup of tea. Like as it was. I mean, he just, again, like you said, gave nothing. Go King, give us nothing. And then it was like 2% after that, and then I was like, oh, actually, no, I actively despise this. Because he just got worse and worse, and he just
never got better.
No, I have two hands, and they could fit around his neck so nicely.
You know, I'm normally much more forgiving than you.
I thought you would have liked it. Yeah,
I don't mind an unlikable character.
Guys, this has turned the tide of my Wednesday. Guys.
You were preparing to fight me because you almost always have to fight me.
I was like, God damn.
I was thinking it because I finished it and I was like, meh. And I was like, surely there's something redeemable about this. But actually...
the more you thought?
Yeah, the more I thought, the more mad I was. Because again, the premise was so fun. I think if we had gotten like them being kind of forced into marriage much sooner
earlier,
in the book, and then spent more time together and had them at odds for less of it and more of them like actually getting to know each other. And also I needed to, one, see him suffer because we kind of alluded to the fact that he was suffering, but we didn't see it. And I was like, but I want to know what that suffering entailed. And two, he needed to come to appreciate the error of his ways and grovel. And he didn't.
No,
and I was
like,
where was
the only thing I saw was his hair was like frazzled when he like showed up in his
there was a mention that like he was looking rough.
Yeah.
Like he was rough and they were like, oh, what a troubled man or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, valid, but see the thing is I would rather have hung out with him and watched him suffer.
So badly. He could have like suffer. Because
I think I would have forgiven a lot if he had like really suffered and been like, oh my God, like I can't believe I did this and now I've come to love her and she'll never want me again. Like if we really got to see that agony and him like trying to get her back, I think I would have forgiven him.
Yeah, the thing that really for me was just like, I really just cannot believe the audacity of this man was when he was like, yeah, I fell in love with her when she didn't have any memories of like any of her trauma or any of the past, and like that's when I really loved her. Like she was like good to me then, and I'm like, but sir, you fell in love with her when she wasn't herself. Like you didn't fall in love with who she is. You fell in love with a woman who wasn't plagued by any memories of any of her life. And I was like, he literally said that, and I was like, my dude, that is not her.
Yeah, even her sister was like, oh, she's reverted to, like, childlike innocence. It didn't help that he kept calling her little one also, and I was like, why are we all like, I know she's, like, 17, but why are we consistently referring to this pregnant woman as a child? I don't love it.
You know, we've read a lot of old school romances when you're like, yeah, she's 17. She's not a child, guys.
I just feel like if she's pregnant, we need, unless she's like actually a child and this is like an oh no, this person has been assaulted type of situation. If she's like pregnant of her own volition type of, I'm like, the man who impregnated her have got to stop referring to her as a child. You gotta. I know this was written in 1977.
Yeah.
The other dude was like 10 years older than her sister, and he managed to have a mostly normal, not super infantilizing relationship, with the exception of a couple of times.
Yeah.
Where I was like,
I did find it funny that him and his army did slaughter her grandfather, and she kind of just like got over it. And I'm like, I mean, good for you. But also, that's a pretty big hurdle. I also thought the soldier was this guy, like the hero, whatever his name was, Lucian.
No.
At the beginning, I thought that when because like they had like seen each other, and I was like, oh, so that's gonna be the hero. And then he like showed up with a scar. I'm like, oh, he must have just gotten scarred in battle. And then when I realized it wasn't him, I was like, oh, well, that happened. I was like, oh, that's not him.
No, I didn't. Admittedly, I did not like what's his name, the soldier, most of the time. By the end, I was like, meh.
I was rooting more for him and Mary than anything really else in the book.
He just gave me weird vibes for the as soon as he started being like, obviously I'm not gonna turn your sister in. I'm just trying to stop her from being a highwayman. I was like, okay, I can work with this.
It helped a little bit that I had just watched Practical Magic, and their relationship in Practical Magic kind of gave me those vibes because he was, you know.
See, he was giving me Colonel Brandon this whole time. So
that's unfortunate.
What? Why is that unfortunate?
You didn't like him. I don't.
But I like Colonel Brandon.
Well, I guess that's good.
So he was helping. It was the age gap. It was the like, oh, my sweet summer child. Your whole family needs me to just like take you under my manly wings and solve your problems. And I was like, slay.
Yeah,
I could have done without the like, you need to be spanked and also a man needs to come in and but to be fair, she was doing some very illegal things. Do I support her in those illegal things? The soldier guy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about him, Mary needing to be spanked. I was like, what?
No. He said that to Sabrina.
Yeah, I was like,
doing all the illegal things.
Yeah.
Do I support her in those illegal things? Yes.
Yes.
Do I think he had a point? Perhaps also yes.
I know. I wanted the highwayman stuff to be like more at the forefront and to last longer and to like be more of like a bit and like campier, I think. Like it could have just been a lot more fun. I don't know, like it could have been like a woman in pants situation. It could have been like, I don't know, she like accidentally like kidnapped him or something. Like I liked that. And I agree that if they would have gotten together earlier with less between them, because it was really only in the last like page or two that he ever admitted like his feelings to her. And I was like,
yeah, it was like at the very, very end. And she was like, I know you probably hate me, but I want to be with you anyway. And I was like, Sabrina.
I know. And she had blamed herself. She was pregnant and alone. And she was like, oh, I kind of blame myself for all this. I'm like, no. I think we need to not have that thought.
It's fine. I mean, it's not, but it's fine. I did really appreciate the very beginning. I liked when we got to see her as the highwayman.
Yes.
I liked her showing up in the very beginning and just being like, tee-hee, hello, gentlemen, giving me your stuff. So I was like, slay.
Yeah. I'll admit I was also confused when she robbed was it the Comtesse and the Marquis? Was he Marquis? And I was like, is that like Sabrina and Mary and like costume? I was like, what is happening? Because I did not put two and two together. I was like, well, the guy has like violet eyes, and I'm like, well, that means that there's some connection. I didn't even put two and two together that would be her father. And then I was like, oh, that could have been fun, but it wasn't, because he was horrible and he got paid off and he just got to leave after beating her or whipping her. And I was like, don't support bad man. I was happy he was gone, but he just got money. Very generous. A very generous amount. And he just got to leave with his Comtesse, who was also kind of a twat, so.
I thought she was funny, actually.
I liked her until she was like, yeah, I'm ready to blackmail her to get my money. And I was like, well, you have now fallen several degrees from my heart.
Look. Money, money, money.
Must be funny in a rich man's world.
She needed it. She had to get that bread somehow.
I just think I was not happy. It was more unhappiness at the Marquis guy. And then the fact that,
I
like,
just fully forgot about him. He left and I was like, and you have now exited my brain forever.
Well, I was just keeping tally of all the injustices happening throughout this book because I want to do that. And, like, for one, Lucian had just, like, ruined her and wasn't going to do anything about it. And then, like, she got whipped because of that. Obviously, he was like, I didn't know she would get whipped. But, like, he ruined her entire reputation for shits and giggles and then tee-heed all the way home. And then she literally got whipped and was, like, curled on the floor, bleeding. And then he, like, storms in as the savior and, like, I didn't mean it. And then pays off the Marquis right after that and strikes a deal with him. And I'm like...
Well, to marry her.
Yeah, I think he could have blackmailed him if that guy needed money. Like, I think there could have been other things to happen.
But he needed a wife. So why
That's
wouldn't
all
he just
another
marry
thing.
her?
Where he was like, oh yeah, I actually fell in love with her. I'm not just marrying her to get my inheritance. And I'm like, I trust that in no way, shape, or form.
Well, that was after he had married her.
Yeah, no, that's after. But I still, that whole inheritance thing was also annoying. I was like, he has not proved one bit that he loved her before that. So I was like, I don't.
Well, I don't think he did.
He said he claimed he did, though.
I thought he said he came to love her after they had married.
It was something in Gardens. I don't know when they were laughing in Gardens. I mean, that could have been after they married. But he said, I loved you when you first laughed in the Vecker or something Gardens. I highlighted it because I was like, bitch, I don't believe you.
I just don't remember when they were. I'm trying to think back to when
I know, I don't remember the Gardens at all. I just assumed it was like at the beginning of their relationship because that's what always happens. Like, I've loved you forever.
Oh, wasn't it? Was that where her father found them the first time and was like, pull your shit together before you ruin your reputation? And then later is when he actually ruined her reputation?
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, so they were in the Gardens. And then her father found him. I don't even remember what that word is. Like, fecker? I don't know. And that's not the word at all. I have no idea. But he said he loved her with, like, some Gardens. And I was like, well, you loved her when she had amnesia. And she didn't know who you were.
You, the queen of amnesia.
Yeah, it works when he's not gaslighting her to that extent. Like, I get amnesia tropes are always, like, some form or another of gaslighting. And I was trying to think, I was like, why does it not work here? And I was like, well, one, he's a dick. And, like, I just don't like him. So, like, I can put up a lot with amnesia if I like the hero. Didn't happen here. Two, when he was like, most of the amnesia books I like, the hero doesn't fall in love with her because she is, like, an innocent, like, unplagued by years of trauma and, like, having to survive. And then realizes that she's actually very innocent and, like, lovely to him. Like, that normally doesn't happen. And I was like, well... And then he was like, yeah, we don't need to tell her because I think she would maybe just hate me. And I was like, well... I mean, that's a normal thing of amnesia. That happens. But she was fully pregnant. And he was like... I'm just gonna say that she was happy. We're gonna have this baby and it's all gonna be fun. And I was like, sir, you're so stupid. But not a cute stupid. You're just stupid. And then she got her memory back. And I was like, I knew she wasn't going to rail at him as hard as she needed to. And it was still a disappointment.
I mean, she was kind of like, I'm going to fuck up your life and just spend all your money. I'm going to be so real with you. If I found myself married to a duke that I hadn't wanted to be married to, but oh, well, now I'm having a baby with him and we're already here. I feel like my best recourse also would be like, you know what? Get every dressmaker you know. Tell her I'm buying the most expensive things. Get all those annoying ass ladies in this room right now. we are going to spend so much of this man's money.
Then hopefully you wouldn't blame yourself for the entire thing.
I don't remember her really blaming herself so much as just being
I have a weird, I don't have a lot highlighted, but maybe I took a picture of it. No, that was just from the amnesia part. I don't know, this amnesia, it just felt very icky. And maybe it makes me a hypocrite, and I'll proudly wear that. But I just simply did not like it. It was not fun. Also, they banged so early in this. I was like, what? So that was unexpected. I didn't hate it. I was just like, whoa. She's fully been penetrated.
Not a good enough reason to use the word penetrate.
I have to say, on a romance podcast, I feel like when is a good reason?
Almost never.
I feel that way about ejaculate. He ejaculated into the conversation.
I do. I love ejaculate as the way it actually is intended. Yeah. I mean, there are multiple definitions, but in the verbal sense, it makes me laugh every time.
It's so funny. Oh yeah, and then Blanche just got straight up, I think her name was Blanche, murdered.
Yeah. I mean, she was annoying.
Yeah, I didn't like her. And then she was just dead. And I was like, well, I don't like that on principle. It was more so that, like, I didn't really care that she herself, Blanche, was dead. I was just like, say what now? And then did you get the vibe that the siblings were incestuous?
Yeah. I don't think they actually were, but I wrote down very few things, both of them related to the twins. The first one is, it's not an exact quote because I was listening to the audiobook, but it was some quote along the lines of the Brett Percy saying, ugh, try to plan a simple murder and you have busybodies hanging all over you, like complaining about all the people he was having to deal with while planning his murders. And I was like, slay, Percy. But don't actually, because I would prefer that you didn't actually successfully murder someone. Well, he did slay. And I was like, that's hilarious. The other thing I wrote down was, why are the twins giving Team Rocket energy? Because similar to how I felt as a child watching Team Rocket on the Pokemon shows, I also was wondering if they were siblings or lovers. They would be like, oh, my darling brother. And I would be like, Team Rocket is blasting off. Like, why? Team Rocket. Why was it giving Jesse and James?
I will agree, now that you say it.
Is all I could think of. Did I love disfigurement as the punishment, implying that, like, beauty is virtue and the lack thereof indicates a lack of virtue? No,
and I also didn't like that was the extent of their punishment.
Yeah, I was like,
because they were straight up murderers. He was just depressed that she was ugly. Like, that was his thing. That was his punishment.
Yeah, they were like, oh, well, he takes pride in her beauty also. And I was like, do I want to read more of their silly little, oh, my dear brother? When are you going to kill him? Tee-hee. Yes, I do, because I think they're hilarious. Did I also want them to be arrested? Yes.
Yeah, I wanted them not to end the book alive. But that's asking a lot, I guess. But
I mean, I guess.
That sure happens to murderers. And I was just like, no one is getting the comeuppance they need. It just happened over and over again. I was just like, can't take any more of it. And then, like, there was a treasure hunt?
Not true. That Scottish ghost guy.
Yeah, okay, so the Scottish ghost guy, who honestly was just doing his best.
He was just deeply mentally unwell.
And then living he gets murdered. And then they're like, yeah, he's out of misery. He's more at peace now. And I'm like, well.
I mean, he was, like, living in a cave waiting for his ghost clan leader to come back to life. Also, he had killed people.
He had. He's not perfect. But he was Not incestuous or
We
had
don't know that the
incestuous
twins were
ideation.
incestuous.
I'm happy we didn't see anything on the page. I'm so happy, so thankful. Because I didn't want to see that.
Sky O'Malley did a number on us.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. Good old incest.
They did
Old
have
friend.
weird vibes. The vibes were despicable. I wanted to read more of them though. I can't say that for the hero. I
mean,
just
that's
thought
true.
they were
Like,
so absurd.
yeah. I guess they gave the vibes that needed to happen in like an over the top, like campy, like
It's
book
true. I needed everybody else
where
to
he
match
didn't.
their supervillain energy.
And she kind of did when she was the Highwayman, and then that just like fell off.
You know who did match their energy?
Oh.
The little brother.
Yeah.
I loved him. He
was
said,
like,
bang, bang, get out of my sister's bed.
I thought he was super cute with the glasses, that he needed them. I was a little like, son, why are you telling this creepy man about this treasure? And I was
she
like,
told him to.
I know, but I was just like, but she's suspicious of him. I'm like, why are you guys doing this?
But when your older trusted sister is like, oh, I know this guy. He knew our grandfather. We can trust him. Why don't you ask him?
I just don't know why she thought that they could trust him when she was getting the creepy vibes from the start.
Because she knew him.
But she was also, like, not fully, like, trusting him. Like, she was, like, sleeping with, like, she was...
but...
I just don't think if I don't 100% trust someone, I'm not going to go up to them and be like, I have this treasure map. Let's go get this treasure together.
I mean, they needed to find the cave. What else were they going to do?
Use the map.
They didn't know how to find it.
Well, then
and now they
get
were
better.
here. And they were like, well, this is a guy that we know and that knows the land. He would be able to help.
I mean, I just did not enjoy this book past 50%. So I truly found no joy in anything. So there's that.
I don't know. I stand by it. I like the plot. Did we need a treasure hunt? Not particularly, but I was like, all right. Sure. Let's head to Scotland. Let's tie up some loose ends that I didn't remember were loose. They were like, oh, yes, of course. What grandfather said as he was dying. And I was like, I had forgotten he said anything.
Yeah.
I didn't even really know why we needed that whole plot of her being Scottish and him die. I didn't know what was going on.
Nope.
Yeah, more Highwayman shenanigans were needed.
Mm-hmm. I liked her, like, fellow Highwayman, like, henchmen guys. When they, like... I think they, like, either...
They were giving Nick and Nack, but if Nick and Nack were actually good.
Yeah, like... I don't know what they were doing. Didn't they, like, try... Was it them trying to stop the Duke or something? And then they were like, oh, we didn't succeed. We shouldn't tell her about that. Well, what was...
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What were they doing? Because that was fun. They were doing something.
It's while she was hiding in the marsh, and they went to... I think they were trying to threaten him to get him to leave. They were like,
was that it?
We're bringing a message.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You gotta get out of here.
And
the Duke was like, I'm actually going to pummel you.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, that didn't work. Should we tell her? No.
No, I don't think we should.
And I was like, I probably wouldn't either. Will it come back to haunt you? Yeah.
It's because the Duke was like, you can tell her that she actually just made this worse for herself. And they were like,
Yes.
Will not be informing her of that.
Yep.
We're going to keep that
That's
one
what
just between us.
Just between
Relatable
us.
kings.
The love affair, me and you too. God. Yeah. So I liked them. They were people I liked. And I liked Sabrina for a majority-ish of it. Would I have preferred not to have been reading a book about her? Yeah. But I didn't, like, hate her. Mary, she was, like, pretty okay until she was like, yeah, Amnesia did her good. I was like, well, Mary.
Look, she was doing her best. She was like, well, before my sister was kind of
she
crazy.
was good-hearted. She at least had intentions.
In her defense, pre the amnesia, Sabrina was her own worst enemy. She was causing problems that didn't need to be caused. And Mary was like, what if you just chilled out for a second? And Sabrina was like, no, I'm going to run away and hide in the woods. And also risk death on a regular basis to get a bunch of money instead of just marrying a guy that I've already banged once. And Mary was like, I'm not loving this vibe.
There would have been more highwayman shenanigans.
Yeah, but every time she did highwayman shenanigans, she was putting her literal neck on the line. So, not great from your siblings' POV, if you will.
I mean,
and then after the amnesia, she was happy. And Mary's like, you know what? Honestly, I get it. Fair enough. She just
and that's all valid. But she still, I mean, she was still like, this is not going to be good. And it wasn't. And she also had like random visions. She was just clairvoyant. That's so Mary. Like, what? It's like, well, that's random.
Oh, I didn't think it was random. I did not even question it, if I'm being honest.
I was just like, is there going to be any more paranormal like element type stuff? No.
It just has the sight.
Yeah.
It's like that contemporary series with the one cousin that has the sight. She never leaves her room. The Rajays.
I don't think
the Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Well, there's one cousin in the family who has like a severe nerve condition type of she basically just lives in her room, and they try to be like very careful with her because she has like seizures and things. But also she has visions of the future. And other than that, it's just like a normal contemporary series, but she has visions. She just kind of says ominous things a lot.
She's the chorus of a Greek play.
Pretty much. I wish I could just say ominous things that came true.
Mm-hmm.
That's my dream. Just say weird shit and have people have to listen to me because it's going to come back to haunt them. I wonder how I can make that happen for myself.
Laurie McBain wrote weird shit and made me read it, so you could just be an author.
It's not the same.
It could be.
I want to say something that sounds weird, but then later you're like, oh.
I get that. Just walk up to someone and say, 30, 31, 75, 12. Do you?
Nope. You
Percy
lost
Jackson
me.
Coordinates of the Bermuda Triangle. 30, 31, 75, 12. Percy Jackson.
Why would I know?
Do you not remember that?
No.
The weird, or the Grey sisters, when they're in the taxi, they're like 30, 31, 75, 12.
I don't.
And it's the coordinates of the Bermuda Triangle and the Sea of Monsters. Book 2.
Yeah, so I read the Percy Jackson series once. It was a good
I read them
5 years
several
ago
times.
So
that's
no, I do not remember one moment from one book where they say a series of numbers.
It's so visceral to me, but I've read them like several times. And I had the audiobook, so like the way their delivery is like lives with me too. So if you ever end up in the Bermuda Triangle, you can go, oh, because you'll know the coordinates.
If I'm in the Bermuda Triangle, I don't think knowing my coordinates is going to be that important to me.
Probably not, but maybe it would. You don't know. It's the Bermuda Triangle. Weird things happen. Anyway,
I don't know how to pull that back to the main thread of discussion.
I don't know. Are you just not
nope.
Not gonna...
Wasn't gonna try. I just snipped that thread and left it there.
That's another thing the Fates do. That's also a Percy Jackson tie-in.
Babe, I know I was referencing it.
Good.
Greek mythology, I do know.
It's Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Not just...
Wasn't... Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame.
What?
Because real ones learned Greek mythology from Percy Jackson.
No. real ones learned Greek mythology from that very large yellow book.
Well, I also had that book. It was very large. I think I have it somewhere, but it was too large to store here. Real ones have to keep talking about this book, which doesn't entice me.
I don't really have anything else to say.
We
Parts
need
of
a
it were
lesson.
silly, goofy time. The plot was fun. The romance was not. What's your lesson?
I incest is the real villain. That's all I got. It wasn't even incest. I don't know. I don't have a lesson.
Okay, great, because I do. There are two rules that I think are important. The first one is from Rizzo the Rat, just in life, not in this book. The first rule of my life that I think is important to follow. The first one is from Rizzo.
Muppets?
From the Muppets Christmas Carol. He says, "Mother always told me never eat singing food." I found that holds up. Words to live by. The second one, I think, does apply to this book here.
What?
I'm just giving you life lessons. Number 1, never eat singing food. It's just an important thing to keep in mind in your life. Number 2, what are you confused about? This is a critical life lesson that I'm delivering.
Were you just watching the Muppets?
No, I was just thinking about, like, what are important life lessons that I strive to live by. 1, I got from Rizzo from the Muppets, never eat singing food. 2, I think applies to this book. And that is never trust strange men claiming betrothals after your trauma-induced amnesia.
Yeah, that tracks.
They're always lying. If I had a nickel for every time I read a romance novel with a heroine who woke up from trauma-induced amnesia and a man she didn't know was claiming they were engaged, only for her to wake up from said amnesia to find her, or, gain her memory to find herself married to a guy she didn't want to be married to, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot. But it's weird that it happened twice.
Is that Sky O'Malley?
No, did that happen in Sky O'Malley?
Well, what other one had amnesia?
Midsummer Moon by Laura Kinsale.
Oh. Well, there was one that we read in this journey of ours that had amnesia. And I think that was Sky O'Malley, right? When she had amnesia and went to the...
Well, she does, but he doesn't take advantage of the amnesia I mean, he does, but it's not like, oh, good, you don't remember me.
I blacked out most of that book.
No, it's just that she woke up on the island and didn't know who she was, and he was like, well, here you are. And then eventually they got married. Midsummer Moon, he's been trying to get her to marry him the whole book for romance reasons, and she won't. And then she suffers a head wound, and then she wakes up with amnesia, and he's like, oh, that's so crazy, because we were engaged, and we were supposed to get married. And she's like, well, I mean, I guess if we were going to get married, we should get married. And then if I'm remembering correctly, they do get married, and I think the day of, at her wedding reception, her memory returns, and she's like...
And then she just goes along with it, right? No. I think you've told...
She's very mad at him.
But does she still get married?
She's already married.
Are they already married? Oh.
I think.
That's what I was thinking of.
I don't know. I could be recalling incorrectly, but I really do feel like it was after the wedding.
Gotcha.
She was like, what? Why would you do this?
Yeah.
It was fun for me,
I love amnesia. But sometimes it's not.
Oh, no, that was a great time for me, personally.
Yeah.
Was it a problem for him? Yes. Did I devour it? Yes, I did.
Unlike this one. And it was only like 366 pages, but it felt like it took so long.
The audiobook was like 13 hours.
I know. But the Kindle book said it was 366. Because I was like listening to like the Audible Kindle, because it was like in KU, and that you can like listen for free in KU. Which, thank the Lord.
That was the thing, because I definitely just paid for the Audible book.
I would return it.
I wonder if I can. I already listened to the whole thing.
I think you can.
Anyway.
These are unlawless times. But yeah, I'm happy I discovered it, because I was like, where is this audiobook? And then I was like, oh, it's in KU, the ebook. I was like, okay, I'll just go read it there. And then it was like, read or listen for free. And I was like, oh, I will. So that happened. And it was a good audiobook. I enjoyed the narrator. I thought she was good. I didn't have anything to say about that, so that was nice. I did finish it on 3.5 speed, though, which was insane, because I just started reading it today because I didn't have time, and or I was sick yesterday, so I like couldn't focus on anything. And
how do you get to the thing where you can listen to it?
It just does it right in Kindle.
Oh, Well, no, I had to, like, go to the cover page, and then I had to, like, tap on things.
If you go...
I mean, I figured it out.
Yeah, I know. I think to see if it's, like, available before you, like, get the book. Dang. Well, normally, like, if you look up a book in Kindle, in the Kindle app and, like, click on it, it would say, like, read and listen for free. But it's not doing it for me because I already have it in my library. But I do always check now, since Audible does, some of them are, like, Audible exclusive, and then some of them are with that feature. So I try, like, every option before I have to pay for something. Because I tried Scribd. They didn't have it. Library didn't have it. But it's not like an Audible original, I don't think.
No.
So I was kind of like, why? Gosh, I can't find...
What are you looking for? What?
I'm just trying to find some quotes from the book, but I simply cannot. Do you know... I, like, tried to reread it several times. How the sister Kate got stabbed in the face, or, like, slashed in the face? Like, what happened? Was it from the
She
people
got
bursting
shot.
in the room? Was it shot? I thought it was the knife. That makes more sense.
No, it was a bullet.
Gotcha. I was like, what happened?
I think they mentioned a bullet wound.
Did they?
Like, it said the bullet had sliced a muscle in her face, and so she was, like, grimacing.
Gotcha. Because I was like, what the hell? I was like, they burst into the room, and then, because I knew she was holding the knife, and I was like, I thought... Okay.
No, because it mentions, like, a sound. Like, there was a roar of thunder, which is how she usually describes gunshots.
Gotcha.
And then everyone bursts into the room, and then there's, like, the, oh my god, blood dripping down her face. And then it mentions the bullet had severed a muscle, and it was, like, making her grimace wildly or something.
Yeah. Would I recommend paying for this audiobook and/or book? No. I mean, it wasn't like
I don't know if it's a first edition, but that old cover, and I do really like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got it in, like, it was like a set of 3 Laurie McBain, but it wasn't.
Did you?
It's not the Dominic like, series. It's just 3 Laurie McBain books that were in a thrift store.
I know, I love those old school covers. And I think I also just had higher expectations because, like, most of the reviews on Goodreads were, like, very positive. And I was expecting something different than the book we got. So that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I would read other Laurie McBain. I liked the writing.
Yeah, I agree there.
But yeah, I just did not care for the romance itself.
What a turd burglar he was. Dislike. But yeah, I feel like just more of, like, a cinnamon roll, like, simp hero would have been fun, who just was kind of, like, okay with her doing crazy shit.
I mean, I disagree there. I don't think she would have responded well to anybody that wasn't very or equally strong-willed. But particularly because we're not supposed to like the highwayman thing, because she doesn't like the highwayman thing. She resorted to it to pay her creditors and, like, feed her family. It wasn't, like, for the joy of it. She's trying to give it up.
Yeah. Which I guess that also is just something I didn't like. I just wanted to like the highwayman stuff.
Yeah, but it, like, wasn't good. It was, like, criminal activity.
No. This book is riddled with criminal activity.
Yeah, but...
And that was the most fun one.
It's bad.
But it was fun.
Yeah, it's fun
Piracy
for us.
Isn't great, but it's still fun.
What's not great? What?
Piracy.
Oh,
like, piracy is
Percy, and I was like, well, Percy's a villain.
I forgot that was even his name. Yeah, no, Percy's bad. Percy not good.
But I'm saying from the perspective of the characters, we're not supposed to be like, tee-hee, robbery.
Which I understand that. Like, I just wish it would have been written differently to where we could have been tee-hee.
Okay, like, when I hear, like, Sebastian, that's what you're asking for.
Yeah, like, when I heard the premise of, like, female highwaymen, I got excited. And I guess it just did not deliver on that. Which I guess isn't a fault of the book. It's just a book that I didn't like. But, I mean, what kind of, like, I guess still like a dominating hero, but even then I'm like, I don't know I guess he could have just not been bad. I don't know.
No, I mean, I
Like,
think this was the right hero for her. I just wanted him to, like, suffer and grovel more.
yeah.
I needed him brought to his knees by the end of it, and instead it was just like, and then it's fine.
I think it lost me too. Like, I think he lost me too soon. Because he also slapped her. We didn't even talk about that. But she slapped him. But, like, he was like, what that? And I was like, not great. After he'd already had her.
I mean, no, but at this point, we're
beaten.
talking about the Georgian era, and I just have to assume the vibes are different. And it also was like he had just gotten slapped.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed like kind of a knee-jerk, you slap the person who just slapped you, and then he's like, oh, shit, sorry. That's not what I meant. It was not the same to me as the slapping an unwilling bride. That was like, he was mad at her, and he just backhanded her. This one, I was like,
is true.
Is it good? No. Is he a Georgian-era duke? Yes.
I just think she suffered enough. She was whipped. She was punched in the face by, like, other bad people. I was like, girl, you're not a highwayman anymore, but you're getting
When
beat
was
up.
she punched in the face?
You're asking so much of me.
You're saying things that I don't remember. I believe you. I just have no memory of it.
No, she was
Oh, are you talking about when the twins sent the 3 guys to go pretend to be the highwaymen? I don't really remember anything happening to her.
I don't think it was that. Jeez. I don't know what word I would
memory of whatever you're talking
I don't know what word I would search. I don't know. It happened, but I don't know. I can't.
Like, the only thing I mean, he, like, stabs her very early on.
Yeah, that I was fine with that.
Okay, so you're fine with her getting stabbed through the shoulder.
He didn't know that she was her. That honestly could have led to some fun times, and it kind of did. Like, I was okay with that. I was like, if anything, like, I can support that in this book.
Oh my god.
What I don't remember was when the other shit happened. Maybe
the only time I can think that she ever has, like, violence enacted upon her is, like, when the dad goes at her.
Yeah.
When he first traps her and doesn't know that she's her and stabs her. And when the 3 hired guys, like, take them down. But
because those were they bad hired guys, or were those the good ones?
Bad, like, bad at their job, or bad, like, morally bad?
So was that different than the 2, or the ones, like, Will and what's his name, John, attacking Lucian? So that's different?
No, it's when the twins hired those 3 guys to pretend to be Bonnie Charlie and kill her and Lucian. And then Will and what's his name come and save them.
Then maybe that is it.
I don't remember a ton of details about that scene. I don't remember there being a ton of violence. Other than, like, them knocking those guys out.
Yeah, so he heard Sabrina's cry as the man holding her twisted her arm behind her back and struck her across the face several times. So I can remember that. But I can't remember, like, main names, large plot details, character arcs.
See, I did not. I can remember
that. I can remember one sentence. That's what it's like to be me.
I mean, they were, like, there to kill them, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they were, but, like, I just did not. I don't like violence against the heroine like that, so it always sticks in my mind, and so that's why it's stuck there, but with no details surrounding it.
I mean, but, babe, she was pretending to be a highwayman for a chunk of this book, so I don't know how you thought you would get out of it with her unscathed.
It'd be different if she was, like, willingly, like, going in to, like, do things. Like, when she was stabbed, I was fine with that. To me, that was, like, different.
I mean, but these are, like, bad guys who get fucked up.
I know. But, like, I just don't like it, so that's why I remembered it. It's just something I don't like. So I was like, she suffered a lot. And she was also kissed by that grody Duke, and he was never punched. She did push him from his horse or something
I was
like
going to say she knocked him into, like, a thorn bush.
Mm-hmm. I was worried that was going to come up at the end. It was going to be, like, the last, like, that, like, somehow he'd find out that she was, like, kissing him, and I was like, please don't. I've been scarred by, like, Whitney, my love, and these books. I'm like, don't. I was surprised that he was just left to lie there and, like, be gone. I was like, okay. Because I was scared, like, immediately after that he was going to blame her for that, too. I was like, no, please don't. But he didn't even know.
It's true.
Never. Because then she saw him with Lady Sarah, who literally had never been mentioned before. And I was like, who is this
And was never mentioned again.
No. I was like, who are you? I searched the name and I was like, who is this? I'm like, why did she assume she was his mistress? I'm like, was that his, like, what? Like, who was she?
Just a scandalous lady who you assume is the mistress, because sure was getting chummy with your husband.
Like,
I don't know.
I know. I was like, who is she? Because then stuff like that makes me feel even crazier than I am. Because I'm like, oh, I don't remember that. And then the reason why I don't remember, she was never mentioned.
You can't remember something that was never remembered in the first place.
That's so true. And I don't want to remember any of this book. Well, the beauty of that, though, is that since I did listen to it by the end at 3.5, I will remember none of this. Like, I'm so happy about that. So I started to, and then I was able to work myself up. And it really, the narrator was actually, like, she was very, she enunciated very well. I could understand it. But, yeah, so that happened. That whole book thing that we talked about.
So true.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Who are the other books about?
The next one is their daughter, Rhea.
Oh, so it's one of those. Oh,
I don't know about I think there's a third, and I don't know what that's about, but it has to follow their family.
Oh, it's a pirate.
The Dominic trilogy.
It's a pirate book.
Well, there you have it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, there's a huge dragon on the cover. I mean, sailing before the sea dragon's towering masks, he plundered hearts and cargoes from the Carolinas to Trinidad's turquoise lagoons. Don't love that.
Those are dangerous. That could be a problem.
Yep. Okay, no. I don't.
The third one, he's also a smuggler and oh no, that's the same one. What are you? Why do you?
A privateer. Yeah. Oh, is it the same one?
But it's
Dark Before the Rising Sun? Oh, yeah. What?
And,
the fuck?
And Dante, so... I don't understand. Same? I think it's a continuation.
Oh.
It's newlywed. They must return to England.
Oh, so because that was written in 88, and the second one was written in 80. Wait, what? So he leaves behind his life as smuggler and privateer? Oh, wait, never mind. I thought he left her to go be another privateer and smuggler again. I was like, so you're telling me I read a whole ass romance book and then he leaves her? That way.
Oh my god, and as if this man is not causing enough issues, the third book, so the second book in Rhea and Dante's story, is all about them trying to win over the Duke because he rejects the marriage.
Huh. Well, I like Dominic even more than maybe Dante. Not Dominic. Dominic's the last name.
That's, yeah.
You know, the times have been hard. The times have been trying. I mean, I will say, this book could have felt a lot more 1970s than it did.
I was thinking that. There were moments where I was like, oof, 1970s, but
yeah.
A lot of it I think felt very modern, I guess, is maybe not the exact right word, but more modern than
Mm-hmm.
Some others.
It could have been written in like 2000 and like felt along like with those contemporaries.
Mm-hmm.
Like it definitely didn't feel like 77 to me. I mean, I don't have much, like, I don't really know what we haven't read. Have we read a lot? I don't really know the dates of the books we've read, but
no, we've done more like 90s.
Mm-hmm. So that was
the only. I'm trying to remember. I know the Kathleen Woodowis is like what, 79.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the closest.
I think that sounds right. So while I didn't enjoy it, I think it could have been a lot worse than it was, I guess. A redeeming quality.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bodice ripper.
No. Mm-mm.
So,
well, there you have it. We've accomplished the unaccomplishable. Ending this episode.
Didn't realize that was unaccomplishable, but
after the minutes of silence of me trying to scroll through the book, our next one looks like in our Old School School schedule is Morning Glory by LaVyrle Spencer. And I have no preconceived notions about that book, so
should be interesting. It's a different. I don't know I don't remember what the plot summary was, but it's a different time period, and I think it's American
is it?
too. I think it's like 19 something.
They call her the Crazy Widow Dinsmore. That sounds fun. Oh, it's a classified ad. Wanted a husband. Yeah, 1941. Oh my.
Yeah,
that's gonna be weird.
I've heard lots of good things about LaVyrle Spencer.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of 5-star reviews for this book. Of like people.
I think it'll feel very different though, so I'm interested.
Well, boy, howdy. Oh my, 480 pages though.
It is.
That's alarming.
It is a chunker. The audiobook is like 16 hours or something.
But at least there's an audiobook.
True.
That's good to know.
It is in fact 16 and a half hours.
Oh, baby.
So, buckle in, folks.
Prepare. And then the next one is Julie Garwood, The Bride, which I read. It's like Diana Quincy had recommended it as one of her like favorite like foundational romances. And she was like one of the first authors I followed on Instagram. And so like I read that. I read The Pearl by Mary Baylog. And I think those were the two that she had recommended. And I liked it back then. It was fun. So lots of banging by a fire. Like a campfire. I remember that. They were like, but like his friend was like nearby. It was a whole thing. Very from Blood and Ash, but like.
Why is that also what I was about to reference?
History repeats itself.
I do have so many issues with From Blood and Ash, but boy, did that scene work for me.
Compelled me. And then we're done with the year.
Wow.
Yay! That was crazy.
So there you go.
Cool. Well, have a marvelous Friday. And come back for our 1989 episode. That's also going to be a chunky one.
So. Yeah, it will.
Oof. Lots of songs.
Indeed. Only 21. 22 if you count Sweeter Than Fiction.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I thought you were going to count the Bad Blood remix. I was like,
oh, no.
Now we're going to put the same book twice. I forgot about Sweeter Than Fiction. And I guess we could. If we do count Sweeter Than Fiction, it would be even for the graphics.
So I guess we have to now.
Yeah, but it's
just
another
for
book.
Your mental stability.
I mean, honestly, would I rather have an uneven graphic or have to find another book?
Sweeter Than Fiction
is another book.
It's
a very sweet. Like,
do I have a book in mind? No, but I'm sure there is one.
Eyes wider than this. I always thought it was. Well,
I don't know what that sentence means.
Wider than distance.
Yeah,
I think just like lyric? Very innocent and like wide-eyed and like.
But wider than distance.
Hear me out. I thought it was wider than pistons for a good portion.
Well, that makes less sense, but wider than distance also doesn't make sense.
I get
what distance? I don't.
Just distance. Just like distant, like endless distance.
You can't be wider than distance. You can be wider than 4 feet. You can be wider than 12 miles.
Your eyes wider than 4 feet.
I'm just saying the line wider than distance doesn't make any sense.
It's not one of my favorite songs at first.
Yeah, you're hotter than temperature. What? That doesn't mean anything. You're taller than height. That's what that is equivalent to. It doesn't make sense and it makes me mad. But I do really like this song. It's a bop. So this is my cross to bury. I mean, to bear.
It's your hatchet to bury. It's your cross to bear.
My hatchet to bury, and to keep the map.
Maps of where you put them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cross to bury. It's giving call a press meeting.
Call a press meeting.
Which, like, isn't wrong. It's just not quite right.
Yeah. Well, that's when I was very confused about, like, what a housekeeper was, but it was just a housekeeper. Not, like, a maid.
Someday our brains will function on one of these episodes. But today's not that day, friends. And enemies.
It'll be longer than distance before that happens.
The fire is burning in my eyes.
You're just, like, bopping, kind of like a Sim character.
I'm swinging my legs, and it makes my whole body move. If anything, it would be longer than time.
Ooh. You're very good at this. Maybe you do like the lyric.
No, I'm just really good at analogies. It's my claim to fame from, like, elementary school English sections, lessons, whatever. I could really kill an analogy.
Find her on LinkedIn, guys.
Adding it to my skills.
And with that,
bye! That's it. That's all I've got. I just need us to stop recording now.